Not a bad view, is it? Not bad at all. What is some non-canon lore that I wish was canon? Some non-canon lore that I wish was canon was that I wish Nakai wielded the Sacred Blade of Quetzal as his weapon. I wish he had been given a device or a weapon by the Old Ones. That way he had a magic weapon, and it helped. It kind of added a little bit to his status as a favored spawning. Because right now he's kind of more of just like a, at least in Total War, he's more of just a like first spawn croc score that's strong. And he appears a lot of interesting places, and he's so ancient and powerful that he's kind of seen by the skinks, at least, as like a primordial jungle spirit as opposed to an actual flesh and blood creature. But I really think it would have been awesome for him to kind of represent one of the Old Ones. And I think Quetzal shares the most with him. As kind of the Quetzal is kind of the protector god, the defensive war god of the Lizardmen.
Spotted.
Oh gosh, hello. Well. Get away! Okay. Physics, but I have a horse. Who's my favorite old one? I mean, my favorite old one? Probably... That's a good question. I think I tend to lean most towards either Tlaxcotl the Impassive or Tepok the Inscrutable. Both of those are like really, really interesting old ones that have a lot of cool things going for them. I mean, Tepok is kind of like revered as the old one that's like the most knows the most about magic. Like he knows all of the deep secrets of magic, and he taught Lord Croak personally a lot about magic. But Tlaxcotl the Impassive is very, very cool because he was just unshakable. Like the lizardmen that are spawned under his blessed spawning, so they have his colors, are like, they're like automatons, not in the sense that they can't feel, but automatons in the sense that like they are completely immune to all like, they don't have a concept of fear or panic or any of that. Like, they are rock solid.
That's got their attention.
What is that? Oh, it's a sawtooth. Been a while since I've seen one of those. lot of sawtooths. Man, I went like right by all this blue gleam. They weren't immune to the Chaos Gods killing them? Well, I don't think many things are.
Low and quiet does it.
The only way you can stop the Chaos Gods from killing you, or the Chaos Forces from killing you, is to kill them first. It's kind of the general rule of thumb. Yeah, all of the old ones vanished with the collapse of the polar gates. Either they were killed in the like battles leading up to it, or they were killed by the implosion trying to prevent it, or they fled and vanished into who knows where. The most likely case is that they died. She's fine. She's fine. She'll walk it off. Yep. We'll just walk it off. Where am I? Okay. I don't think that was the best way to get to the blue gleam. It seems like it's just like scattered. Oh, okay. I think I see where I need to go. When the world needed them most, they vanished. Yeah. That is how that went. But it's okay. I wish I could remember the like exact lines of the Avatar intro so I could change it. But basically, in the absence of the old ones, Sotek came, and Sotek is the one who will save us, even though he's a young god by comparison. Now we go. Ooh, I love
A fistful of blue gleam is worth braving the cold.
Yes, it is. Lots of blue gleam. There's still one more. Excuse me. It says there's still one more. There's a squirrel. A Banuk? Goat? Wonder if I cannot detect blue gleam. Let's check down here. Can I elaborate on Sotek a bit? So, yeah, I guess we can actually talk about that. Didn't I say the old ones created the Rome Gates in AOS? That's what Games Workshop says. Now, how exactly that works isn't really clear. If I had to guess what Games Workshop means by... Oh, there it is. Do you show up on my radar? You do. Okay. If I had to guess what Games Workshop means is that the old ones are ultimately responsible for the creation of the Rome Gates. And that maybe when the world that was, like, shattered and blew up, it... what happened was that when all of the... One thing that the end times revealed, and we've kind of known, is that the world, the Warhammer world, has tons and tons and tons of old one technology all over the place. Like, lots of it was stashed in Lustria, even more of it, or, well, not more of it, but tons of it was in the Southlands and in Albion, And even across the entirety of the planet, if you delve down deep enough, you were very likely to find Old One technology. And this Old One tech had incredible powers. I mean, that's how Archaon destroyed the world in the end times, was that he basically found a very large piece of Old One technology, and he created a realm gate. So he created a realm gate to the realm of chaos by essentially corrupting a realm gate before we even knew what those were. So he found a realm gate, and he corrupted it, opening another portal to the realm of chaos, which destabilized the kind of equilibrium of the Warhammer world and devoured the entire planet until it imploded. So it seems that all of this Old One technology was kind of in and around the planet. So when the planet exploded and all these little pieces of tech and magic and all this stuff went flying out everywhere, as the mortal realm started to coalesce, lots of those little bits and pieces of arcane technology were gathered up alongside all of the magic that formed the mortal realms. And because of that, it created the realm gates, which likely is why the realm gates do not have a uniform appearance. They are, they could be anything. They could be a giant, noticeable, obvious gateway, or they could be the inside of a monster's guts, or they could be a shadow that appears at a certain time of day, or they could be at the bottom. They could be like the bottom of a lake or a particular piece of ice in a snowy mountain. They could be anything. Also, hold on, chat. It's time for the daily blessing, chat. It's time for the daily blessing. It's Chloe! It's the Chloe bear. She's just like, what are you doing? Hi! What are you doing? You just hanging out? You okay? You just hanging out? Good girl. Yeah, good girl. There we go. It's a blessed stream. Everybody knows that streams don't count. They're not true blessed streams unless Chloe shows up. Aztec, would you send me on Discord what you're talking about? I literally have no idea what we're talking about. So give thanks to whatever forces you believe in, because Chloe has blessed this stream. Poor dog. Her hearing has gotten a little better from yesterday, so that's nice. But she was super deaf yesterday. Alright, so we are now venturing north into some pretty nasty territory. Because I want to go upgrade my spear. Here's a question for you guys, chat. Who is y'all's favorite deity in Warhammer Fantasy? Like, who's your favorite god? I am genuinely quite curious.
Stocking up.
Here's something big. Gork. And if you want to say why, I would welcome it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, so now we're going to head here. We're just trying to link these campfires together because it'll make getting around a lot easier if I have a lot of points I can fast travel to. Ooh, cool. Sotek, nice. Sotek is a good pick. The Old One of the sun and flame and energy. Or was it Mork? Nice. Grugni. Nurgle. The one that didn't lose to the Chaos Gods like a chump. I mean, it could be argued that some of the gods beat the Chaos Gods, depending on how you look at the circumstances of the end times, seeing as the Chaos Gods desired to destroy everything, and quite a number of gods actually got away. Because Chaos can't achieve true victory to save their lives, because they get too easily distracted. Gorkamork, Kane, because you like his butt, that's fair. Can't argue with that. Well, Chloe may be about to start barking. I'm just warning y'all in advance. The Great Horned Rat? Cool, cool. Lilith? Lilith, interesting pick. Jaka Diego, what aspect of Lilith do you like? Do you like her as her High Elf persona, her Wood Elf persona, or her Bretonnian persona? The Ancient Widow? I think the Ancient Widow counts. She's not a traditional god, but I do count her among the deities. Papa Nurgle? I definitely want to take out these towers. Oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of them. They're scanning for me is the problem. Let's start with that one over there. Knowing my luck, there's gonna be like a snap all hiding out here. Thank God in this game, dying of hypothermia is not a thing. Lugni! Oh, hey, Cold! Good to see you, dude. Aztec, what is the AOS rule you think you found? The Lady of the Lake is forever tainted by the scum that is Lilith? Not if you don't want her to. You can always just ignore the crappy writing from the end times and just appreciate what she was before that. There's no hard and fast rule that you have to take her worst version.
Put that away.
Hello there. I don't know. Dude, that bird was just sitting there like, could I interest you in this discussion about our Lord and Savior? Very polite bird. Got him. Fall down. Oh God! I just got Kool-Aid, man. Yeah, I see you, big jerk. That's not right. You're making a mess. Stop it. You're an active one, aren't you? I wish this thing continued to pulse. rumors that in third match play, unit max sizes are going away. To go along with this changes, they're introducing the following system. You get 4 reinforcements per army. Non-battle line can be reinforced once, and battle line can be reinforced twice total. With still reinforcement is another way to reference including base. Interesting. I think I'll wait for official confirmation on that. That sounds really wild. I'm not by any means saying that that's not a thing, but that seems like something that could easily be misinterpreted.
Tasty.
Or like misunderstood. But I mean, we'll have to see what happens. If that's true though, it does sound incredibly wild. Okay, we need to clear out some of our mods here. Ooh, drummer's weapon coil. Wow, that's like a whole new tier of goodie. Could I talk a little bit about the different personas of Lilith? So, Lilith is a bit of a complicated god who I honestly think got a little bit messed up because I would argue that Games Workshop overused her. They used her a lot to the extent that she has a very... her character is very inconsistent because she got used by so many authors that they all seem to have a lot of disagreements on how best to implement her into the game, or implement her into the setting. So, for instance, if you look at her from a High Elf perspective, the High Elf Lilith is a goddess who is heavily invested in being as hands-off as possible to not piss off Ashurin, the king of the gods, but still be involved enough to have a dramatic impact on the goings-on of Ulthuan and the High Elves. So she actively seeks out those elves who are kind of willing to do anything to defy fate or to be major players. So she very, very actively engages with Elithanar and Teclis to try and help them on their personal quests while also you know, staying as far away as possible. So, like, Lilith almost never directly talks to them until the end times when kind of all bets are off. Instead, she is a entity that appears in your dreams, or who helps to try and guide you in particular circumstances. But it is exceedingly rare that she puts herself out on the front lines or very, very obviously. And the odds of you having like a personal discussion with her are virtually non-existent. However, her Wood Elf persona is very different. Gosh darn it. Her Wood Elf persona is very dramatically involved. And shows up personally often to the point where she gets directly involved in Elithanar's life and even essentially becomes a consort of his, or he is her consort, where she actively is, you know, trying to manipulate him. Well, she seems to genuinely care for him. But, like, Erloth, she has, like, a personal relationship with Erloth, to the extent that the two of them apparently have a child, even though Erloth has no recollection of them having those kinds of relations. When she told him they had a child together, he was like, what? Which means that she either wiped his memory if they did the deed, or that the way gods have children can be more elaborate and strange than the traditional way. Of bumping uglies, so to speak. Like, already you have a character who acts wildly different depending on the circumstances. But then, she's also the Lady of the Lake, And the Lady of the Lake is not, like, does not take the side of the elves. The Lady of the Lake is very heavily invested in Bretonia, and on multiple occasions went out of her way to strike out against the Wood Elves to punish them for, like... Oh, you tried to lure me over there. Like, actively punish the Wood Elves and, like, struck out against them and has, like, helped Bretonia numerous times fight back against the Wood Elves. Whereas, if you look at it from the End Times perspective, in the End Times, the author who was writing the End Times, he played it from the angle of, no, Lilith manipulated Bretonia so that she could protect the elves. You know, she could protect Athel Loren, she could protect the elves and her children and the world to come by basically treating the Bretonians like they're expendable slaves, essentially. You know, that she would raise them up to be better than human and to be more like the elves, so that they could basically be fodder for the elves. Which I don't agree with that particular storyline. I see where the author was going with it, but I think he was trying to do too much in too little time, and because of that, his messaging got messed up. Because what I think they wanted to do with Lilith was to keep her consistent with her writing. Which the consistent thing to do with her writing would have been that Lilith wanted to make a better world, and she found that Bretonia was one of the most receptive ways to do this, and that Bretonia were willing to do what it takes to protect the world. You know, Bretonia were the ones who were willing to protect sacred sites and important locations because they were completely and utterly devoted to following these laws of chivalry and these rules that Lilith laid down to try and make them better, so that they could protect the world from chaos. They could protect the natural world from being corrupted. You know, in the sense that, sure, Lilith may have used the Bretonians in a sense to, like, protect the natural order, but it wasn't about protecting the elves. Like, the Lady of the Lake did not hesitate to throw hands with the elves whenever they did something to mess with Bretonia. Like, if Bretonia was really being harmed, the Lady of the Lake would immediately stop whatever she was doing and would fight for them. To the extent that she killed Orion. To the extent that when the Fey Enchantress was kidnapped, taken by Drycha, the Lady of the Lake, like, immediately sent a bunch of water spirits, or naiads, down to Athel Loren and demanded that she come north immediately to answer for this crime. And Ariel went. Like, Ariel went to where the Lady of the Lake's place of power was, and the two of them had a battle. Like, they fought each other. To the extent that, like, all the Wood Elves were watching the skies, like, erupt with lightning, and, like, there were immense powers being thrown around. What the? Ooh, it's a trampler. I haven't seen one of those in a hot while. The Lady of the Lake being Lilith does make sense if you do not count what happened in the End Times. Lilith as a character, I do think she was overused, and I think the Lady of the Lake really should have been kind of her own thing. But ultimately, Lilith, if you look at Lilith from the scheme of this is a character whose ultimate interest and purpose is to protect the world from chaos, to protect this world from chaos, then ultimately she makes a lot of sense. Now, I do have a headcanon, and I'll just full-on admit it's a headcanon,